It's the time we've all been waiting for. It's time to check and see what happened to the balloon that I put in the fridge. Now, if you remember, I tied the string really tightly around the middle of the balloon, and then I put it in my freezer to test what would happen when the air gets cold. So I'm going to go grab it from the freezer and we're going to check it out together. Here's my balloon. It's very cold. And if you remember, that black line is where the string went around it before. And it was super tight. And guess what? When the string is on that black line, it is loose. So that means that while our balloon was in the freezer, the air got closer together, causing our balloon to shrink. Pretty cool. Now, I wanted to do another experiment because last week we talked about hot air balloons. We talked about how the reason why a hot air balloon flies is because there's a flame inside that balloon that causes the air in the balloon to heat up, and the air spreads farther apart and gets nice and light or buoyant, and it goes up into the air. And I was wondering if there was a way that we could test that or see if that works at home. And so I came up with an idea. I happen to have two nice big bottles from some chocolate milk that I drank, and I was thinking I'm going to put hot water in one and cold water in the other and put a balloon over top of each bottle and see what happens. Okay, so I will be right back with my milk bottles, my balloons, and my hot and my cold water. I have a milk bottle full to the very top of cold water, and I'm actually going to fill this milk bottle with water from this kettle that I just boiled. Now, this is a part of the experiment that it would be important for an adult to do because we have to be very careful with boiling water because it could burn us. So I'm going to very carefully fill up this bottle. All right, so now I've got this balloon. You'll notice it's not super full, but there's definitely some air in there that's taking up space. But this balloon is completely flat. It seems like our hot water is heating up that air that's in the balloon. And if we had a way to keep adding heat into this air, it would keep growing and expanding and filling up. But nothing is happening to the air in the balloon over top of the cold water. It's staying completely flat. So that definitely shows us that the heat is doing something to the air. So I was thinking about this, and I was thinking about how we use air in a hot air balloon to help us fly. And I was thinking that there are lots of other ways that we use air. One way is we can use windmills to actually help us make energy. So I made a little example of a windmill here. I'm going to move my bottles out of the way. So I'm going to share a link in case you want to try to make one of these at home. You don't have to, but you might be interested too. And I actually didn't have all the materials that you were supposed to in the video because, we're not going to the store that often and those kinds of things. But I was able to make it work with just a pencil, a pen, and a piece of paper. And you'll see the way it's built, it's got these little pockets. And if I blow in it, it spins. So there's windmills that people make that they put up on hills or by the ocean or lakes or places where it's windy very often. And when those windmills spin, they help us to make energy so that we can have electricity for our houses, to turn our lights on and watch TV and all those really fun things that we need to do in order to live comfortable lives. And so the wind can help us do that. The wind can help us turn a windmill. And so for this week's journal, air journal, I would like you to try and think about something else that humans, that people use wind for, wind or air for. So we know that we use them for windmills and for hot air balloons, but can you think of some other thing that humans need wind or air in order to make them work? Okay, so that's what I want you to think about. I want you to tell me what that thing is, and maybe tell me a little bit about how it uses the wind or the air in order to work. All right, I'm looking forward to reading your answers.